Sitting round the fire, playing games with my sweet. She plays out marshmallow, gosh, that's hard to beat. Oh, how I desire to toast that mallow man, but it keeps on going back to her hand.
Come on now, let's play some Lorcana.
We'll smash some s'mores like Hans and Princess Anna. We'll
Lick a Mickey bar to his friendly face, invites you through a smorgasbord of Lord Smorcana.
Hello and welcome back to Smorcana. I'm Katie.
And I'm Brett.
And we're so excited to snack on some cards with you.
Oh, I'm so excited.
I can't wait. I'm starving for cards.
Yeah. I would just make a nice little card sandwich, you know? Maybe some Mufasa wedged in between a couple of Lady
Simba's.
Tremaines.
No.
Delicious.
Yucky.
What s'more would you make of cards right
cards?
now? What are you digging?
I think I have to start with the graham cracker crust. And I think that my graham cracker crust would be 2 Brave Little Tailors.
Right now, that's what you'd want to play.
Right now. Well, that's what I'd want to eat.
Okay.
Because I love how that card looks. Graham crackers are delicious. On the inside, I would stick a Pinocchio, little guy that quests for 3.
Okay. Star attraction.
He'd be the marshmallow. And then the chocolate for me would be Ursula, legendary Ursula.
Deceiver of all.
That's her.
That's quite a s'more.
I think it's pretty good. What about you?
I'm so on the Mufasa train. I'm just loving Mufasa right now.
Yeah.
I just like to. Maybe it's like the gambler in me. I don't like to gamble, but
Yeah,
like
you
I
live on
love
the edge.
flipping that top card over, baby.
He is fun. He's very fun.
Yeah. So I think I'd go with 2 Mufasas.
Oh, he's your graham crackers. Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
he's the graham cracker. So that when you flip it over, you get another Mufasa. You know.
Nice. Yeah.
That's the stuff. And then the mallow will be Rapunzel. That's what binds it all together.
Yep.
And the chocolate will have to be Mother Gothel because she's a little bit bitter.
Ooh, nice one.
Thank you.
Wow, delicious. I wish we had s'mores right now.
Let's go do that and then come back and finish the podcast.
Okay.
Okay, I'm feeling good after having eaten all of those s'mores.
I'm feeling so s'moresy.
Yeah. Big news.
What's the news? Tell me about it.
For me, anyway.
Okay.
I can go to a set championship.
What?
I can go to one set championship. Shout out to King's Court in Taunton, Massachusetts.
Taunton.
They are having a set championship on Monday night.
Unreal.
I am so excited because I was going to be in a show. I am in a show the 2 weekends that most of the set championships are being held. So I'm very excited to have one shot.
One shot.
Yeah.
Do not miss your chance to go. This opportunity comes once in a lifetime.
There
You
you
gotta
go.
go to the set championship. That's gonna be awesome. I'm so glad you get to go.
Yeah, I'm pumped.
I couldn't possibly hold all the weight of our family on my own shoulders at the 2 set championships I'm going to. So, well, I guess 3. I'll go to that one too. So the 3 I'm going to.
Yeah. What are you going to play?
I don't know yet.
Oh, no.
It's a very touchy subject. I don't know what I'm going to play yet.
Oh, no.
I had a deck. I was sure I wanted to play it. Sapphire Steel with Belle, my girl. And that piddled out. I can't win a game with it, which is fine.
It's hard to play.
I just can't. It's very hard to play. And I was trying to go all the way in, but And then, well, right now on Pixelborn, I'm playing a Ruby Amethyst list.
The old standby.
Yeah, the old standby that I do like. So, I've actually won some games with it, so that's exciting. I'm also tempted just to go back to my good old girl, Ursula.
Yeah.
Had a good time with her, that deck.
Emerald
so I don't
Amethyst tempo.
Yeah, I'm just a little bit lost in the woods right now.
Well, all I can say is pick the one that you have the most fun with.
Yeah. Good advice.
That goes to anybody who's wondering what to play. Whatever one you have the most fun with, play what's fun, because then you'll enjoy all of the practice reps that you get.
Right. It'll be fun. I'll figure it out. I'm going to keep on playing things. I'm going to have fun playing Lorcana. I'm not going to overthink it. It's going to be great.
Yeah. It's all for it's a piece of cardboard with a little blue alien fellow on it. So at the end of the day, the stakes aren't really that high. It's about having some fun.
Right, exactly.
You know what isn't as much fun as going to a set championship is, though?
I do know. It's Wish.
The movie Wish.
Okay, and we're not here to diss on the newest Disney movie. We love the Disney movies. We watch them all the time. It's what we put on when we're playing Lorcana. But ugh.
Can you tell me what the lyric "throw caution to every warning sign" means?
Yeah, it's like, what is
that?
happening? And just all the songs are just a real rough time. And this comes from big theater fans. We love the musical theater.
We're here for a musical, for sure.
But it does the art form no good existing as it does.
Yeah.
It's just we saw it in theaters, and then the other day we were like, oh, we'll put it on while we're playing Lorcana. We'll give it another shot. We spent the whole time being like, ugh.
It's a bit, as the children say, it's a bit cringe.
It is quite cringe. It doesn't have any of the riz.
Yeah, it's a bit disappointing.
Yeah, it's not. It's just, ugh. I hope they don't put it in Lorcana, but they so will.
They definitely are. It's coming.
Yes, it's definitely coming.
Alas, maybe the cards will be better than the movie.
Yeah, I kind of hope they're not, though, because I don't want to play with those cards.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, what was the star's name?
Star. The star's name is Star. And then they sing about you're a star and how the star can't grant wishes, but the star just granted wishes to the animals. And then the animals are like, you're special and amazing. Who? Who's special and amazing? What's happening? The star? The people in the town?
It feels like it's a AI autofill. It's
just awful. It's like, write a song for a Disney movie, and it's like, you're a star and don't look far, come with me. And even at the climax at the very end, when she's standing on top of the thing and she sings the reprise of whatever the song is, I Make This Wish, and she's like singing at the villain, and she's like, stand with me. I look at the stars and I throw caution to the warning signs. It's like, what is happening? And then the whole town joins in.
Yeah, it's a little bit frustrating. And we're not here to just blast all the Disney movies, but
no,
we love
not.
them. It's just like, we don't want to be negative. It's just like, oh
just
man, a little bit
better.
disappointing. Yeah.
We just wish it was a little bit better. Everything else, we got no notes for anything else, honestly.
You know what wasn't disappointing? Was the opposite of disappointing.
What?
Was thrilling and rapturing. We got a really cool shout out from Live Laugh Lorcana from Katie and Becky.
We freaked out.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
It was awesome. We listened to that episode like a million times because we kept wanting to hear it at the end. It was so cool.
It was really cool.
Live Laugh Lorcana was one of the first podcasts we turned to when we started playing Lorcana back in December.
It was the first podcast, I'm pretty sure, because I think they were talking about going to a tournament in Miami. And they're so self-effacing and also knowledgeable, very humble, and they're hilarious. So they've been a must-listen podcast for us. So that was really cool.
Yeah, we absolutely love listening to them. It's also really cool to have ladies talking about Lorcana, like ladies existing in the Lorcana world. It's just so fun. And the ladies who are knowledgeable and passionate about it. We actually just listened to their latest episode where they did a little April Fool's prank and had their husbands host the beginning of the episode.
Man.
And it was so funny. And it just made it even more clear of how great their podcast is and how great their hosting is, you know?
Yeah. Oh,
it was a good
hilarious.
bit, though.
It was really good.
It's a very good
They committed all the way to that bit.
You simply gotta.
So great.
Yeah. Awesome. Hey, can we get a menu? Do you see a waiter around here anywhere?
Yeah, let me go. Oh, look.
Who is it?
I think that's Helga over there. Helga? Oh, hi.
Hello.
Hi, Helga. Can we have a menu for the evening?
Oh, yes. Yeah. You want the menu?
Yes, please.
Okay, 2?
Yes, please.
Okay, hold on. I've got 2 menus for you.
Okay,
Here you go.
Thank you. Thank
Here
you, Helga.
Go, ma'am. You take your time. All right, goodbye.
All right, let's see. Well,
She's so nice.
She's amazing.
She's so kind
I can't figure out where she's from.
It won't say. She just won't say.
She's a woman of mystery.
Yeah. She's lived a lot of places.
So I'm looking, I don't know, do you feel like an appetizer tonight?
I mean, these appetizers look amazing, but I don't think we need one.
You want to go like right for the main course
The
here?
main course looks delicious.
They have tempo on the menu.
Ooh, have you ever had tempo before, Brett?
Everybody keeps talking about tempo, and I've been so curious to kind of figure out what it is.
Yeah, people say it has an umami flavor to it.
Yeah, let's partake in some tempo.
Okay, hey Helga.
Yes, are you ready to order?
Yeah, I think we're gonna take we'll take tempo for our entree, a shared entree tonight.
Tempo.
Is it good? Do you recommend it?
Very tasty.
That's great. Thank you so much, Helga. I'll go with that. And you know what? For dessert, I think we already know what we want.
Oh, yes.
There's this bevy of 4 new s'mores snacks at
yes.
Animal Kingdom. Yeah, can we have those brought in?
You would like the s'mores smorgasbord?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Thank you,
I
Helga.
will put it all in for you. You order good food. Sorry. All right. Goodbye.
Wow, she liked our choices.
Yeah, it's nice to have her approval. That's all
That
I ever
was so
want.
nice.
You know?
Yeah, me too.
All right, let's get right into the main course.
Ooh.
Delicious. This is something that everybody should try to partake in, I think.
Oh my gosh. Hey, listener, you know your favorite food? It tastes like that.
It tastes like exactly like that. Tempo tastes like that.
Everyone should eat tempo. I mean, Brett, everyone should eat tempo, right?
Yeah, like, it's like, what do we like to make? Green beans tempura.
Oh, man. Oh, why'd you have to bring it up? We don't have it.
So good. Wicked easy dish to make, actually. Like, you can,
Yeah, a little sidebar here.
You can home tempura fry anything and it tastes amazing.
And we don't have like an air fryer or anything. We just have like a thing of oil.
Yep, just some
Pan
vegetable
of
oil
oil.
and like make a batter and coat your green beans, chuck them in for a minute.
Man, we're making it tomorrow night. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Tempura.
Tempura.
Tempo.
Tempo!
A fundamental card game foundational bit of knowledge, something that
Yeah.
everybody should understand.
Yeah.
It's intrinsic to all these card games, especially Lorcana.
Definitely. Yeah, tempo, when I was apprenticing from you and learning about card games over COVID mostly, tempo is something that came up a lot. I would say more so in Hearthstone. when we
Yeah,
were playing.
totally. Yeah. Tempo is super, super important to understand. And if you don't know what tempo is and you aren't kind of gauging tempo, at least subconsciously while you're playing, then you're not doing all you can to win. And I think, you can gain percentage points in all matchups if you start to understand how to gauge tempo in a matchup.
Definitely.
So we've been going over some of these tenets of card gaming, and this is just me trying to share what I've picked up over the years. Not to say that this is the end all and be all, or that, I'm some expert, but I do want to try to share as much of this knowledge as I can, especially given the fact that Lorcana is a game that is attracting people to the TCG space for the first time. So let's get right into it.
Yeah, you certainly know a lot about card gaming strategy. I mean, you've played a lot of games and you've done well in the games and you really enjoy diving into the strategy. So tell us about tempo.
Yeah, so tempo kind of has this nebulous definition, and I think if you asked 10 experienced card gamers what tempo is, you'd get 10 pretty different answers. But we're going to try to boil it down to its essence and cover the broadest meaning of tempo. So just loosely, tempo refers to the pace at which a player commits threats to the board. In Lorcana, that means characters generally. So you can have a lot of tempo, fast tempo, where you're playing lots of characters to the board relative to how many your opponent is playing. Or you can have slow tempo, where you're not playing as many characters. Maybe you're wiping the board over and over again rather than playing characters, which would be a slower tempo. So you can lose or gain tempo. For instance, Maleficent Monstrous Dragon and Kit Cloud Kicker are examples of classic tempo plays because they are characters on your side of the board who are then removing a character from the other side of the board. So you're gaining tempo and your opponent is losing tempo.
Right.
Does that make sense?
It's almost as if, gaining tempo means you're doing better overall. Like I feel like I can typically tell if I'm feeling good about the moves I'm making and I feel like positive, like I'm making a board. Typically that means I'm gaining tempo.
Mm-hmm.
Not that losing tempo is a bad thing all the time, but...
Right. Yeah, there are trade-offs and we'll get to that. So an example of cards that lose tempo, Sorcerer's Spellbook and Bosses on a Roll are two cards that lose you tempo, but give you some other benefit, right? Because you're not developing a character onto the board that is going to be able to interact with your opponent directly.
Right.
Yeah. Something that's all kind of in between would be Fishbone Quill, where you sacrifice tempo in the short term for long-term gain. So the turn you play Fishbone Quill, you're losing tempo. You're not developing a character onto the board. But in the future, you have more ink, potentially, and so you are able to play more characters to the board than your opponent does. You've ramped up, right? So you have tempo gains later in the game.
I mean, Fishbone Quill is a card that I honestly should have put in my s'more earlier. Because I am personally tend to be a fan of moving quickly with decks that I play and having them like just keep gaining tempo and I'm going fast and I'm rushing and it was hard for me to grow to love Fishbone Quill, but it if you can have the patience, at least for me, to see that eventually it will gain tempo for me and it will, fire up is nice.
Mm-hmm. And you also love Be Prepared. That's become one of your absolute favorite cards.
Definitely.
And so that's a card that it checks your opponent's tempo, but you've enjoyed that very much.
Oh, totally. Should have put that in my s'more too. I'll make another one.
A different s'more. You have a fast s'more and a slow s'more.
Yeah, there you go.
So tempo, talking about balancing tempo is balanced against value and aggression, right? Those are the trade-offs. So it's hard to have high tempo and a lot of value. And it's also hard to have a lot of tempo and also be very aggressive, which is a little bit counterintuitive. Like you think of it's a high tempo deck, you're being really aggressive.
Sure.
But I'm going to talk a little bit more about what I mean. So Maleficent biding her time is a very aggressive play, but it is also a low tempo play because it is so easily countered by your opponent, potentially, that you're inviting a tempo loss, right, by losing that character. But you've probably gained lore in a very aggressive fashion. You've aggressively marched towards your win condition. But if they're 2/2 on their 1-cost 2/2, like their Stitch or their Queen or their Robin Hood, takes out your Maleficent, then you've lost tempo at the expense of aggression.
Right.
Similarly, if you have a Chernobog's Followers out on turn 1 and you sacrifice your Chernobog's Followers to draw a card, then you are sacrificing tempo for value. So these are the trade-offs, right? Like you can't have tempo and aggression, and you can trade also tempo for value.
Right. Now, is it possible for a move like sacrificing Chernobog's Followers, right, for that to ever be more favorable in tempo? Like if I was to draw a card with it, right, and I discard it to draw a card on turn 2, that's not as good tempo as maybe if I wait until I really need a card. Does that make a difference, or is it always
No, that's a great question. And there are little permutations, right? So for instance, say you have 5 ink and no inkable cards in hand. You have a Lady Tremaine in hand, and your opponent has 1 character on the board. And you sacrifice your Chernobog's Followers in the hope of drawing an inkable card to ink and then immediately play Lady Tremaine. Well, then, of course, in that case, you've made a really small sacrifice in tempo, losing your Chernobog's Followers to make a very high tempo play,
right,
where all of a sudden you're developing a character and removing a character from your opponent's side of the board.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's always little trade-offs. It's always a little bit of a push and a pull. And so a big part of the strategy of the game is figuring out when to make tempo sacrifices in the name of either aggression or value.
Yeah, right.
So looking at Lorcana right now, there is a tempo deck. Just as a quick aside here, you might hear Emerald Amethyst called a tempo deck. And I think that refers to playing Cloud Kicker that bounces at your opponent's characters.
And great card.
And Mother Knows Best specifically. Those are tempo plays because they are not helping your value. You're spending a card, right? And they're also not very aggressive where they're immediately advancing your win condition. Instead, they're saying, in the short term, I am going to make a gain on my side of the board and detract from your side of the board. Those are tempo plays.
Yep.
So that deck, because it has a few of those cards, that gets called a tempo deck. Yeah. So why does all of this matter? Like, why should you care about tempo in Lorcana?
Right.
So I think a huge tip for anybody trying to get better at the game and they're new to the LCG space is try to ascertain as quickly as possible in any given game how your tempo relates to your opponent's tempo. How fast does your deck want to go and how fast does your opponent's deck want to go?
Right.
So if your opponent has a really slow deck, you might want to go faster. It's called like going under your opponent's deck, right?
Yeah.
If your opponent is really fast, you want to slow them down potentially. There's a great article, a classic article, which, I didn't play. I've never played Magic. I've played a couple games, with in a shop here and there over the last 20 years. But there's this article that gets referenced all the time by Mike Flores. It was written in 1999.
Wow, dang.
Yep.
About Magic?
About Magic.
Wow.
And it was called Am I the Beatdown? And so this article basically says that one of the mistakes he sees players make in Magic is incorrectly diagnosing whether or not they are the beatdown. Basically, whether they are the offensive player in a given matchup or the defensive player.
Right. Offensive being the one beating someone down.
Yeah, right. And so if you think, for instance, that you are the beatdown, like you're the person who's supposed to be being really aggressive, and instead you're the person who is supposed to be controlling your opponent, then your opponent's going to be able to rush ahead of you and be the aggressor better than you are.
Right.
So I highly recommend if you Google Am I the Beatdown Mike Flores 1999, you'll find that article. And
That's so cool.
It's mostly stuffed with very specific references to the Magic metagame in 1999. But if you read even just the first couple of paragraphs, it has some really good info on watching players incorrectly ascertain whether they are the offensive player or the defensive player in a given matchup.
That's so cool. Who is Mike Flores? Did he work on Magic or was he just some wizard?
I think he's a pro tour player.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I don't know too much about Magic history, but I think he's a professional Magic player, yeah.
That's awesome. I would also love it if he was just a wizard who knew about Magic and wrote an article and disappeared back into the ether.
Yeah, I mean, it's so cool that there's this long legacy of card gaming knowledge.
Yeah, it's amazing.
But yeah, it's an essential article in the history of how to play TCGs.
Awesome. Am I the beatdown?
Yeah,
nice.
Am I the beatdown? Let's talk specifically though about how you can apply this to some Lorcana decks. Yeah,
sure.
So for the first couple of weeks of Inklands, we have 3 tier 1 decks, quote unquote, anytime, right? Because we have one of each color represented.
Yeah.
So what were our 3 decks at the start of Inklands? We had
Emerald Amethyst, Ursula.
Our tempo deck, yep. We had Steel Song built.
Yep. And then Popsicle.
Yeah, Ruby Sapphire Popsicle, which is a control kind of build. So if you think about how these decks match up against each other, it gives you this tempo triangle.
Ooh.
It's almost it gets called rocks, paper, scissors, although it's not so, the lines aren't so clear and the outcomes aren't so definite.
Right.
In Lorcana as rocks, paper, scissors. Lorcana does a pretty good job really of being malleable, of having decks that are malleable and can adapt to any given situation. So anyway, Emerald Amethyst is fast. It's got these high tempo plays, right?
Yep.
It can win really quickly with those cursed merfolk and the 2-cost Flynn riders, right?
Yep.
And then if there's a problem on the other side of the board, it can bounce it back to your opponent's hand and then quest some more. So it can go really quickly. That makes it really good for rushing past a deck like Ruby Sapphire, which is very slow.
Yep.
Very, very slow. It takes a long time for them to get their Fishbone Quills and or Hirams online and then get to a be prepared to wipe the board, reset things, and progress from there, right?
Right.
Very slow. Then you have Steel Song, which is kind of in the middle of those two decks. It's capable of grinding out Emerald Amethyst, right? Slowing it down, taking those little characters off of the board by singing, and so simultaneously can develop characters and remove small characters really, really well.
Right.
But it's not as quick. And so when it faces a deck like Popsicle has a few more turns maybe to get to those Be Prepareds, to get to those Maleficent Monstrous Dragons, and really control the whole game. So this is a question of tempo, right? You have a really fast deck that can go right by a slow control deck like Ruby Sapphire, and then you have this mid-range deck that can control and grind down Emerald Amethyst, but isn't as good at going really quickly to blow past Popsicle.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah. So as soon as you sit down to play a game, try to diagnose whether or not you are faster or slower, whether you have more tempo advantage, you have a tempo advantage over your opponent.
Yeah, that's been wildly helpful when we've been playing together and you'll comment, oh, you're definitely the beatdown right now. It just helps to think about that, and I find myself thinking about that sometimes in games too, where I'm like, do I need to quest right now? Or am I in control? Like, do I have, and not to get it confused with control, but am I the beatdown? Do I have the upper hand here?
Right.
Or do I need to be on the defense?
Yeah.
And if I don't need to be on the defense, I'm just going to quest for days and see what happens,
Yes. I mean, that's one of the questions that you get asked all the time from a brand new player is, when should I quest? When do I quest and when do I challenge? When do I, play a character that has a lot of lore versus has a lot of strength and reckless?
Right.
So, if you can diagnose whether or not you have the tempo advantage, whether or not you are the beatdown, then that answers a lot of those questions. You can say, well, I am the beatdown here. I should be questing and letting my opponent try to stop me. So here's a hypothetical, right? Here's a little game we can play.
Throw it at us.
So say I'm playing Amber Ruby. I'm playing Mufasa, which is a mid-range deck. It's not super fast. It's not a control deck. Exists kind of in the middle there.
Sure.
And I'm playing against Emerald Amethyst, that tempo deck that has some speed. They're faster than me. I know this when they start playing these cursed merfolks and these Flynns. And they're jumping out to a bit of a lore lead, and it gets to be turn 4, and I'm having trouble with their wide board. But I have a Rapunzel in my hand. Now, Rapunzel does her thing when I have damaged characters on my side. But let's say I don't have any damaged characters. I haven't been able to develop a character that's been damaged so far, right? Because they're maybe crashed into one cursed merfolk or they got bounced or something, right?
Right.
It can be the correct play in such a situation to play Rapunzel without drawing any cards and healing any of your characters.
Now, is this playing a Rapunzel on an empty board, or does it not matter?
Not necessarily. So this is a situation where maybe I have one character and they have 4 already, right? So they're out to a really quick start. They're the beatdown. They have a high tempo advantage. And I just need to check that tempo in whatever way I can. And maybe I have like a Hades as my other option and I with nothing in my discard pile yet, right? Because it's been bounced. So maybe I have a Minnie Mouse, always classy, from turn 1 or something like that. But I just need to develop a body to check tempo, to be able to attack into a cursed merfolk and get them off the board.
Right.
So I'm sacrificing the value that Rapunzel brings because I need as much tempo as I can possibly get right now.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so if you aren't thinking about how to navigate the matchup on a not just a turn-by-turn level, but a game-long level, where you're saying, I am the person who needs to be the control player here. I need to slow my opponent down. You might not intuitively think, well, I'll just play this Rapunzel even though she doesn't do anything. Right? But if you are trying to cement your status as the control player and slow your opponent down in whatever way you possibly can, then perhaps you play that Rapunzel.
Right.
To that end.
Huh.
On the other hand, like say you're on the other side of the table.
Sure.
And you're playing against Popsicle and you're playing your Ursula tempo deck.
Yep.
And you need to win the game quickly, because if it gets into a be prepared situation, you'll never reach 20 lore.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So turn 3 rolls around and you've got your Cursed Merfolk and your Flynn in your hand.
Yep.
And you've also got Ursula, Deceiver of All in your hand, legendary Ursula.
Yep.
With Friends on the other side for the next turn.
Yeah.
Now, depending on the situation and whether or not you went first, et cetera, there are other factors, but it could be the right play to play out both the Cursed Merfolk and the Flynn, representing 4 lore on the following turn, when they probably won't have an answer to either of those characters, rather than play the Ursula.
Right, and leave her just to be eaten.
She only quests for 1,
Right.
She represents 1, and maybe next turn you can draw 4 cards, sure, but, you still have that Friends in your hand, and there's other options for it. In the long run, playing your Flynn and your Cursed Merfolk a turn earlier, or maybe even 2 turns earlier, could represent a lot of lore.
Yeah, definitely. That makes sense.
And that comes from recognizing that you need to win the game quickly, that the way you win is by being the beatdown, by pressing your tempo advantage.
Right. It's talking about tempo is so interesting, because I think it's probably the thing that I misread the most when I'm playing games, when I'm looking back at a game, maybe that I lost or even that I won, that I feel like something went wrong. It's often that I've misjudged the tempo, or I've made some kind of a critical decision like that I can look back at and say, oh, well, actually, I should have been more of an aggressor. I should have been more of the beatdown,
Absolutely.
It's really good to talk about it and to try to figure that out, especially when we're talking about trying out decks for championships and all that kind of jazz, where you want to feel comfortable with what's going on and other people's tempos, and being able to read their tempo is that's good. It's tough stuff.
Yeah, it's a little bit hard to wrap your head around, but I'd say the next time you go to play a game, just try to on turn 2, try to see if you can figure out who the faster player is. Try to figure out who has the tempo advantage, and then play from there and see if it affects any of your decisions. Some cool cards that offer really interesting tempo decisions are like Prince Eric is a great, the new Prince Eric is a great card for trying to figure out where you are in a matchup. So if you are the beatdown, you want to just be questing with him and then let your opponent figure out how to deal with it.
Right.
And maybe you don't get as juicy of a target. You don't get to necessarily figure out when his trigger happens and take out the best target with him, but you get extra lore.
Yeah.
But if you're the control player, if you are trying to slow your opponent down, then you play out your Eric and then you use him to challenge in and take out something that's going to be questing on your opponent's side.
Yeah, definitely.
Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
Awesome.
What a delicious course of tempo that was.
Yeah, that was again, that umami flavor coming through really nicely.
Eating this tempo felt like I ate something really healthy.
Oh, good.
I feel clean. I feel like I can see the game a little bit clearer now.
It's funny, like when we were starting the podcast, we started in such a silly place. And then And we still do some really silly things, but it's fun to introduce the variety to it too. Like I enjoy getting into some of this nitty gritty and then talking about something really frivolous as well.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of frivolous, there was something pretty frivolous on the menu for dessert too.
Ooh, right.
Remember that smorgasbord?
Yeah, the smorgasbords. Helga.
Yes. Are you ready for dessert?
Yes.
Did you enjoy the temp?
It was amazing. And Helga, you are a treat
I am not treat. All right. All right. I have for the table a smorgasbord.
Oh, a smorgasbords.
Enjoy.
Thank you so much, Helga.
Thanks, Helga. That
Helga-
looks awesome.
Oh, Helga,
Yes.
you are just wonderful. Thank you so much for helping us out
Oh.
tonight.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Where are you from?
Oh, I have to go to another table. All right, enjoy your dessert.
So mysterious.
We'll never know.
We'll never know.
Maybe we'll get clues.
Indeterminate accent.
Yeah.
Really interesting. Yeah.
Thanks.
Oh, well, look at this. Look at this. Look at the smorgasbords.
Yummy, yummy, yummy. Now this dessert is inspired by something that continues coming up in our feeds here. So maybe it's because the robots are listening to us and they can hear us talking about s'mores all the time.
Yeah, right. Our search history is just a bunch of s'mores.
Yes, but we've been seeing s'mores snacks in Disney parks come up in our feed a lot.
Yeah.
The biggest one to come up is in Animal Kingdom. So in Walt Disney World in Florida, in Animal Kingdom, if you haven't been, check it out. It's a great spot for snacks. We have many little snack carts, many little snack booths, places like that. They rolled out this whole s'mores snack thing.
Just in time for our podcast to hit the big time.
It's just absolutely perfect.
Yeah. And so we have to cross over here because we're not just a snack podcast. We're not just a Lorcana podcast. So we need to figure out how are we going to relate these new s'mores snack products to Lorcana cards. Do you have any ideas?
We're going to take one character, one Maleficent, and we're going to take all of her cards, put them in a big baggie, and then we're going to take all these snacks, put them in a big baggie, and then we're going to find the right Maleficent card for the right s'mores snack.
Okay, we're going to
gonna be a lot of
compare
fun.
each snack to a different iteration of Maleficent.
Yes, I will present all the snacks, and then we'll say which card it goes to.
Okay, great. I love this game. We're going to compare 4 different s'more snacks to 4 different Maleficents.
Yes, I'll tell you what all the snacks are. I'll give you little details about them.
This will be great.
And I'll tell you what the 4 Maleficent cards are. And then we'll match them up.
Okay, cool. I love this. I love this because theoretically, and this is like my grand hope for this podcast, I have this like grand vision that some folks who are card players who aren't super big Disney nerds will learn some cool Disney stuff, and then some Disney nerds who are dipping their toes into LCGs, TCGs are going to pick up some tips.
Yes. Okay, the snacks are thus. The first snack is a s'mores churro. You can pick this up at Tamu Refreshments. Now, some of you may know what a churro is. It's a lovely, essentially a stick of fried dough covered in cinnamon sugar. Well, this s'mores churro is 2 churros, rolled in Oreo and graham cracker dust, topped with chocolate chips and whipped cream with a marshmallow dipping cup next to it.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's really good. The review said, and we got these reviews of these snacks from Walt Disney World News Today. They reviewed all the s'more snacks. They say that this one is sweet and salty. Very delectable. Yeah.
Yum.
The next snack is a s'mores dessert pizza.
Okay.
I was not sure what to think. It is not a whole pizza. It's about the size of your hand, like a little square of pizza. It's on normal pizza dough with browned butter and sugar, chocolate, graham cracker, and toasted marshmallow on top. So it's like you take dough and you put some butter and sugar and then just put s'mores ingredients on top.
It's like
and
an
melt it up.
open-faced s'more.
Yeah, it actually looks pretty dank.
That sounds very good.
Yeah, we have not been lucky enough to get down there to try these treats, but if you just send us $3,000, we'll happily go down and try these treats and we'll cast from down there. So just go ahead.
Yeah, we're going to add a new sponsor our entire trip to Disney World category on Patreon. It's one tier. It's the $3,000 tier.
Yep. And
we'll tell you how it was.
Yeah, if you pay for that, we'll just tell you how it was. Don't you want that? So this does look pretty good. S'mores dessert pizza. The next one is a S'moresaurus shake.
Ooh.
You heard that right. It's a s'more dinosaur shake.
Oh my gosh.
So it's available at Restaurantosaurus, which is a great little spot, snack spot, but also a quick service food spot. Like we've gotten chicken tendies there many a time. It's a vanilla shake with chocolate and caramel drizzle in the cup, topped with a chocolate dipped s'more, toasted marshmallow whip, graham cracker crumbs, and rimmed with chocolate fudge sauce and more graham cracker crumbs. Also, on top of the chocolate dipped s'more, there is a little white chocolate green dino.
Oh.
Could you die? I know it's kind of like your thing where you don't like milkshakes that have a whole cake on top.
Yeah.
But this is just a little s'more.
This is different for some reason to me than a whole cupcake. Like a s'more is a couple bites and a cupcake is like a commitment.
Yeah, it's because of the dino. The dino makes it better.
Yeah.
The last treat is the s'mores hot cocoa. You can get this at the Isle of Java. So s'mores hot cocoa is just normal hot cocoa with whipped cream and graham cracker dust.
So just a hot chocolate with some graham cracker on it, crumbled in? Oh,
yep.
Okay.
And the whipped cream is not marshmallow flavored. It's just like...
That was an anticlimactic finish to the s'mores boards.
That's what I thought when I read the article, too.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
oh, no.
Okay, so we've got, just to recap really quickly, we've got the hot chocolate with some crumbs on it.
Yep.
We've got a open face pizza s'more.
Yep.
We've got a churro s'more.
Yep.
And we've got a s'more milkshake with dinosaurs.
Yes.
Okay. These are our 4 new s'more snacks at Disney World.
Yes, those are the 4 s'more snacks.
All right, now we're going to pair each of those to a Maleficent card.
Yes.
Amazing.
I'm going to tell you the 4 cards.
Okay, what are the cards?
The 4 cards are Maleficent Monstrous Dragon.
Classic.
You know her. She costs 9. She's a ledge. The next card is Maleficent Biding Her Time.
Little Maleficent.
Yep, little 1 cost, uninkable.
Quest for 2.
Quest for 2. Yep. We referenced her earlier. The next card is the 3 cost Amethyst Maleficent Sorceress.
2/2, draw a card.
2/2, draw a card. Quest for 1. The last one is Maleficent Sinister Visitor. She's a 4 cost inkable. 3/4, quest for 2.
Vanilla.
Blank.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I know where that one's going.
You too?
Yeah, I think right away, I think it's pretty clear that has to be the hot chocolate one.
Ding, 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 ding,
Is
ding,
that
ding,
right?
ding.
Okay,
You are
cool.
correct. So, Maleficent Sinister Vinister.
Sinister Vinister.
Maleficent Sinister Visitor is exactly like the s'mores hot cocoa, right? Because there's nothing offensive about hot chocolate. It's tasty, but it's such a blank 3/4.
Yeah.
You know, it quests for 2. Cool. Yeah, it's hot cocoa. Cool.
Yeah, the last time I bought a hot chocolate and I crumbled some graham crackers on top of it, I was totally like, this is a vanilla 3/4.
Yeah, like, come on. It's just graham cracker crumbs. It's just like,
Yeah.
Like, is it tasty? Yeah, it's got whipped cream and graham cracker. Like, I guess.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's just
Okay.
not that great.
All right. So another Maleficent was the Biding Her Time, the little aggro one.
Yeah, where do you think the Biding Her Time quest for 2 little gal goes?
Difficult. Can we come back to it?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
there's another one at the other end of the spectrum that I think is a little easier to determine.
You're talking about the legendary Maleficent Monstrous Dragon.
Yeah, I feel like Monstrous Dragon is the milkshake with a dinosaur and a s'more on it.
Ding, 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 ding. Of course it is.
Yeah.
It's amazing. The S'more Source Shake. I mean, come on. This shake is more of an investment than all the other snacks, right? You have to have enough room in your stomach for it. You have to make the space, much like you have to do for our 9-cost Maleficent lady, right?
Yeah.
It's hot in Florida.
Uh-huh.
You're about to invest in a milkshake, right? You need time to digest this thing before you get on rides.
Yeah.
You need space, you know?
Yeah.
You need maybe a pal to help you out with it, right? But if you can do it, if you can have this S'more Source Shake, if you can play Maleficent Monstrous Dragon, the reward is massive. It is totally worth.
Man, we're like, you've really nailed this.
I know.
It's really cool to see such astute Disney Park Lorcana snack crossover content.
That's why we're number 1 in the world,
This
baby.
is the stuff that people crave.
Yep.
I think this is what everybody was begging for, is exactly
Begging.
this Venn diagram of content.
Screaming for it.
Great.
Okay, we've got 2 cards left. We've got Maleficent, Sorceress.
Yep, the card draw 3 cost 2 2.
Yep. And then Maleficent biding her time, the little gal who quests for 2.
Okay.
She's a little lady.
Okay.
And we've got the churro and the pizza.
Okay. I feel like the churro, the quick bite of churro is, and it's two little churros, right? Okay.
Yeah, it's 2 churros.
So I feel like it's, okay, so I'm going to say it's biding her time is the churro, because they're little bites of lore, little bites of churro. Yeah, I feel like that kind of lines up nicely.
Yeah, you're so right. Ding, 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 ding. The
yes.
s'mores churro is Maleficent biding her time. It's doing good work. You know it's going to make you happy. No one in the history of the world has had a churro and been like, ugh, I didn't like it. Right? It's not a bad decision. Playing a little Maleficent biding her time, it's not going to be a bad decision. She's going to quest for 2, probably. At least once. You'll be satisfied. It's fun. You get a little thrill, just like you do with a churro, right? Churro's not going to fill me up like crazy. Honestly, I'm probably going to split this thing. It's 2 churros. You'll have 1. I'll have 1, right? We'll feel good after it. It'll be gone kind of quick, but that's okay.
Yeah.
We had a nice time.
How apt.
So apt. That leaves S'mores Dessert Pizza paired up with Maleficent Sorceress. S'mores Dessert Pizza could be a real hit or miss. We don't know, right? Same thing when you play Maleficent Sorceress. You know you're going to get something new from this snack, right? You know you're going to get card draw from Maleficent. That's great. Is she going to get chopped up real fast because she's just a tutu? Maybe. Is she going to live for a long time because she's just a tutu? Maybe. You don't know. She's only questing for 1. She's not that threatening.
She can get bounced.
Yeah, she could get bounced, right? It's a cheap little dessert pizza. You're going to get an Instagrammable snack. You get to tell people all about it, right?
It's a standby, like card draw, right? That very efficient card draw is a standby in the same way that pizza delivers too. You know, it's always there. It's convenient. It's classic.
Yeah, you're not going to be disappointed.
So great. The 4 new s'mores snacks from Disney World.
There you go. Now, I don't know what's holding them back from just sticking these cards right next to the sign for the snacks. People would understand what they were getting much better.
You're right. Absolutely. That's the next idea that we have for Disney World. We did do our episode on like how we would incorporate Lorcana into Disney World. And so the next step is to have, instead of any description about what any food is, just have a picture of a corresponding Lorcana card next to it.
Yeah, we don't need descriptions anymore. Just tell me what card it is. We'll understand.
Do you want to eat a thing called a Restaurantosaurus S'moresaurus shake that has a picture of Maleficent Monstrous Dragon next to it? Like, yeah, you'd be like, yes, I want that. That's great.
Of course you
do. Yes, please.
If someone says, ooh, it's s'mores hot chocolate, but then it's only a blank 3-4, then you'd be like, oh, I don't want that.
No, that's boring.
Right?
Pass.
Come on.
Right. Thank you so much, Katie, for delving in, for doing the research on these snacks that you have never tasted.
Thank you, Brett, for also delving into the snacks that we've both never tasted. It's been an honor. All right. Well, that was a delicious dessert.
That was great. You know, a nice entree, a dessert to cap it off. Grab a mint on the way out the door here. Mm-hmm. Oh, look at this.
Oh my gosh. What is that?
This is an orange mint. What is it? It's kind of gooey and goopy.
Cheesy.
Oh.
What is it?
It's a new dream card.
Ooh.
And it is the Leaning Tower of Cheesa.
Yeah. Cheesa.
Au cheddar.
Talk to me, baby. So this is the Leaning Tower of Cheesa, inspired by the Leaning Tower of Cheesa in the Goofy movie.
Yeah, what's this kid's name? It's Bobby Zimmerowski?
Zimmerowski,
okay,
we just
Bobby
looked it up.
Zimmerowski. Yeah. So Bobby Zimmerowski and his love of Cheese Whiz.
Yeah, he's amazing. So in the beginning of the film here, he makes a Leaning Tower of Cheesa out of spray cheese in his palm.
I don't want to write off a snack instantly on our podcast here, but I don't think you could pay me enough to have whatever he's eating in this movie.
You don't want canned cheese?
No, I don't think you could pay me enough to eat it.
Wow, I'd probably eat it without money. But that's marriage.
Yeah.
So this card came to you as an epiphany when we were driving earlier. What inspired you to make the Leaning Tower of Cheesa? Was it just on the mind?
I think. Well, we watched like the Goofy movie. We had it on, I don't know, a week ago or so.
Yeah.
And I've just always remembered. I think because I was so grossed out by it as a kid, I always remembered this moment where he creates a recreation of the Leaning Tower of Pisa out of Cheese Whiz, and says, "The Leaning Tower of Cheesa," and then slams the whole thing into his mouth.
Yeah.
And that was so traumatic to me.
That's your trauma.
Yeah, this is me exercising some demons in card form.
Good job. We're all here for you. I'm never going to bring home spray cheese. Don't worry.
Thank you.
So the Leaning Tower of Cheesa is a 0-cost sapphire item. It's got 2 abilities.
2 abilities.
Yummy, yummy. The first ability is Awoo Cheddar. It says, banish this item, remove up to 1 damage from chosen character.
And then it has another ability, talk to me, baby. And it says, banish this item, chosen character gets +1 strength this turn.
Yeah. So he's a 0-cost, which is bold.
A 0-cost item. There's never been anything 0-cost in Lorcana.
No, we're the first.
So this could be really interesting design space because it might just be like a 0-cost item for Tamatoa, or for other item triggers.
Yeah.
It works with like that Tinkerbell from Inklings that doesn't really see play. Like it's just another item you can banish.
Yeah, Hiram.
Something else you can recycle or sack to Hiram. Absolutely. So it's fun to just have a 0-cost item to grease the wheels or cheese the wheels.
To cheese the wheels
of items decks. But it has 2 pretty weak abilities to spend a card on. Like to spend a whole card on healing 1 damage or granting 1 strength 1 time is not great, but as a card that helps an engine along, it could be really cool.
Yeah, and similarly to canned cheese, it doesn't have a lot of nutritional value, but it's funny.
Yeah.
And it's fun.
It has some fun flavor text too.
Hey Max, guard this with your life, dude. Which is what he says about his can of spray cheese.
Yeah.
It's an uncommon too.
Yeah, because Cheese Whiz is pretty uncommon.
Yeah, it's kind of gross.
You can get it if you really want to, but
it shouldn't be common.
It shouldn't be found.
Yeah,
it need not. It must not be common.
Yes.
But yeah, so a fun little dream card.
A great dream.
Hopefully,
card.
the Goofy movie comes along in some more forms down the line.
Right.
It would be really great to see that in Lorcana.
It would be awesome.
Goofy deserves. Max deserves it. Powerline deserves it.
Oh, for Powerline alone, please.
Roxanne deserves it.
Oh,
is it weird? I think I had a crush on Roxanne as a kid.
that makes sense.
Is it weird to have a crush on an animated like dog girl?
No. Have you seen Robin Hood?
Yeah.
Come on. What are we talking about here? Jeez. Wow. All right. Wrapping up episode 9.
9.
How has it been 9 episodes?
I always say it. Time flies when you're having fun. Where you're having a ball on
Time
Smorcana.
9s when you're having fun.
9 times when you're kniving fun.
999999999.
So next 9.
Yeah, next time we're going to start really buckling into our store championship preparation.
Yeah, we'll give a little bit of a meta overview or a last little look at the meta before set championships. Try to give our last bits of advice that we possibly can for bringing home a Stitch promo.
Yeah, baby.
And maybe another bet you didn't know about Diz.
Yeah, we'll have a big bet you didn't know about Diz.
Awesome.
It'll be a lot of fun.
Looking forward to it.
Can't wait.
In the meantime, please do like, subscribe, share.
On all the socials, any socials you can think about. Also, we want to hear from you. If you have things you want us to chat about, or you have ideas or questions or anything, we're wildly available. We're on Instagram,
we are
Facebook.
Desperate to hear from somebody who wants to know something.
Yeah, just look up Smorcano. We're checking. Don't worry, it won't get lost. You can email us.
Yep, smorkana@gmail.com. We're also on Twitter, @smorkana.
Facebook, Instagram.
All the socials. All right, until next time, keep on snacking, y'all.
Yum, yum, yum.